the signals for the Baltimore Colts. Unitas gives to Amici. The Colts are the world champions. Amici scores.
It's amazing, sensational, dramatic, heart-rending, exciting, thrilling finish in the history of college football. California won the big game.
5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes!
This is Phil Steele.
This is Mike Burnham.
This is Wes Durham.
This is Mike Ashley.
Hi, this is Chuck Foreman, number 44 of the Minnesota Vikings.
Woo, mercy, this is handsome Jimmy Vine, the Boogie Woogie Man.
This is Coach Fry with Virginia Tech Football, and you are listening to Big Dog Sports Talk.
Are you ready to rock? Are you ready to roll? Okay, let's do it.
You're in the doghouse with Rick Watson on Big Dog Sports Talk, presented by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. Join us in the Family Fencing Studios and chime in on the McClellan Chiropractic chat line. He's keeping cool with help from Little River Heating and Air, but this show is straight fire. And now, the big dog, Rick Watson.
Rick Watson's got the mic, he's the big dog king. Cover sports so sharp, it's a new river thing. Virginia Tech fire, rapid pride too. Every stat, every play, he's bringing it to you. He's got that voice, deep as a valley, breaking it down, no dilly, no dally. Big dog sports talk, feel the bark, feel the bite. Rick's in the zone, every day, every night, from the Hokies to the Highlanders. He's got the spark, Big dog sports talk, lighten up the dark. He's got the scoop, faster than a sprint. Calling plays like a coach, every word's a hint. From the courts to the fields, the stories unfold. Rick's play-by-play, worth its weight in gold. With a laugh and a growl, he'll pull you in. Big Dog's podcast, let the games begin. Big Dog Sports Talk, feel the bark, feel the bite. Rick's in the zone, every day, every night, from the Hokies to the Highlanders. He's got the spark, Big Dog Sports Talk, lighten up the dark. Sports talk, feel the bark, feel the bite. Rick's in the zone, every day, every night, from the Hokies to the Highlanders. He's got the spark, Big Dog Sports Talk, lighten up the dark. Big Dog Sports Talk, feel the bark, feel the bite. Rick's in the zone, every day.
Hey, good morning. How are you? It is the Tuesday edition of the program.
Got the spark, Big Dog Sports Talk, lighten up the dark.
Hope everybody's doing okay. And I hope folks had a pleasant extra day off yesterday, Memorial Day, Monday. Reminder, as you see the graphic, on Thursday, I'll be over at Warm Hearth Village from 8 to 9:30 for the Montgomery County Chamber event. And James Franklin will be there, the head football coach at Virginia Tech. So come on by and see us. More than likely on Thursday, what I'll probably do is do the first hour of the show. Maybe. And then head over to Warm Hearth. I don't know. I have to figure it out. I'll look at it and see. I have to see how close Warm Hearth is to the proximity in which I am right now. So we'll figure it out. But how's everybody doing? Hope everybody's doing okay. Good morning, Stephen. Good morning, T-Bird. Hope everybody's well rested. And I hope that, well, I know that our crew did here, our gang, but I hope folks paid proper respects to our veterans and to all the men who have fallen in duty to give us our freedoms. Awesome celebrations yesterday, as it should be, all day long. Coming up, Marvin's going to join us at around 6:40. Marv in Miami. Brian Siegler is going to join us as well, coming up from the Boundary Corner. And then Mike Burnham. And we have some stuff, regarding Virginia Tech we're going to get into with Brian and also with Mike. And the LLC creation is very interesting to me. We'll get into all that, and we'll get your thoughts on it as well. Virginia Tech's going to go the route of what we're seeing, I think, is going to be the way most schools are going to have to try to do business going forward to try to deal with all the offsets of the pay for play. So this is a June 1st. It's coming up on Monday, a June 1st vote. It's going to split the Hokie Ventures LLC job into two different parts. The athletic director is going to manage coaches, athletes, and general operations. The CEO of Hokie Ventures is going to run the commercial side. That's multimedia rights, naming rights, sponsorships, donor engagement. And it'll be governed by an independent board, not the university. So in other words, that means it'll act more like an independent business. So with the Invest to Win program that was approved, this is something that is going to happen. Brandon Hall is presenting the plan to the board. He's Tech's athletics CFO. He was at Radford for a while, too. He was also Clemson's CFO when Clemson Ventures launched in 2024. So he's going to be using that blueprint, and we'll talk about all that. Seems like it's a good move on the surface. Seems like it's a smart move. And we'll see what Brian and Mike have to say about all that. Hit us up in the McClellan Chiropractic chat room, also on the Professional Door text line 3910788. It was weird not doing a show yesterday. I went back and forth on it. We just re-aired the May 6th show with Marty and Rags, but decided to go ahead and take the day myself. And really just to kind of pay honor to our veterans more than anything. I want to thank Family Fencing, sponsor of our studios, 540-282-94, familyfencingnrv.com. Mark Hunley and McClellan Chiropractic here in the chat room. Thanks to Mark over at 155 Walters Drive. Best chiropractor in the business. Let him go and get you fixed. We're presented each and every day by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. Charles Lee is Little River Heating and Air, 1095 Radford Street in Christiansburg, 540-553-2971. The attorney, Ryan Pry, brings us our BDST fan question of the week. We'll come up with that hopefully by the end of the show. Trust and estate planning. National Bank member FDIC, the exclusive banking partner of this show and of yours truly for the last 35 years. Our text line sponsored by Professional Door Incorporated, residential commercial garage doors, family owned and operated. Travis Williams, 38 years in business. His dad started the business, and now it's a regional and also national hired business. They have really just gone nuts in all the best ways possible. Sundown Electric in Elliston, excellent reputation, long list of satisfied clients, attest to their superior craftsmanship, attention to detail, clear communication. They also always work hard to keep the costs down as much as possible. Bob Chris runs ReadySetFund.com here in the area. It's terrific. BOBCRST11 at Gmail. Reach out to Bob. You want your organization, team group, church group, school group, whatever, to help raise some money through a series of text messages. Read up on the Ready Set Fund. They do a terrific job all the time. Lawson's Mobile Home Supply has been doing it since 1987, manufacturing parts for your windows, your home, your plumbing, 300 North Franklin Street. Reach out and give James a call, 540-381-8011. And last but certainly not least, the NRV Super Bowl, 540-382-5525. They've got NRV nightlife at the Super Bowl every Saturday, 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. So reserve your lanes. They have a Neoverse. It's really cool. They've got all sorts of things. It turns into kind of a big old party when they dim the lights and get all the colors going and all that stuff. What's up, Artie? Good morning. So it's really cool. Really, really cool. So jump in and be part of it. Artie, please subscribe to the channel. We're doing sports. Artie, here in Southwest Virginia, southeastern part of the United States of America. That's what we're doing. It was a strange racing weekend. It was a good finish at the Indy 500. The whole NASCAR weekend obviously tainted tremendously, and rightfully so, with the unexpected passing of Kyle Busch. And we found out that, it was a pneumonia that had developed very rapidly that just kind of completely poisoned his system and took him quickly. Thank you, Artie. Appreciate that. Stop by anytime, man. You're always welcome. Good morning, Opal. How are you, First Lady of Chat? It does, T-Bird. It does. The LLC completely turns everything into the knowledge. Thank goodness, at least now it's out there. This is now a professional business. Let's stop calling it college athletics, because it's not. Yeah. 100%. Let it operate on its own, and then the universities have to get back to trying to figure out the debt that it has, which keeps popping up just with its regular costs and so forth. So, yeah. A lot going on. But I think it was necessary. I think it was something that was probably going to have to develop. And the fact that Brandon did it at Clemson, he's going to know exactly how to present it. And it feels like, Tech is on the right track there with the LLC. I don't think you're going to have a lot of criticisms directed at it if it gets implemented the right way, and they have the right guy there to kind of get it going. So we shall see. All these solutions that are popping up are very interesting. Yesterday was a replay, Opal. That's why it was not you. That's right. You probably weren't here. That was a replay of the May 6th show. But thanks for tuning in. And that's what I'll do too when I'm on vacation. I'll try to find shows and upload those during the regular shows. And I'll let you know through all the social media. And do that. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to see more of. The universities are going to kind of let the athletic departments run as their own separate businesses. And I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. Now, I'm not saying they're going to cut off monies, but Tech's already committed monies. And then it's up to them, right? I mean, you can kind of tell already which way Tech's going, because the more I thought about it, I know it's going to happen. It feels like it anyway, that the athletic director hire is going to come before the presidential hire. There's going to be a lot of politics involved, unfortunately, with any presidential hire going forward with a university like Virginia Tech. So on the surface, that doesn't make sense, right? On the surface, you have a president who's going to be hired. You're going to have an AD in place running all these things. And it's going to be, oh, hey, glad to meet you. I just recently got hired too. Let's see if we can sit down and work together. So from that standpoint, they've got the order reversed, because you would think at most places the president would be involved in the athletic director hire, unless you have a sitting AD who you're very pleased with, that has done a nice job. And then you have to meet the president and say, well, this is what I've done. I'm looking forward to working with you. But it feels like it's going to go the other way. Now, it feels like, too, the folks that we have here on the show don't seem like it's going to be that big a deal. But what it tells me is the university itself is going to make this hire based on a lot more than just thinking about athletics. The AD, the LLC is going to run athletics. The university is going to focus on the university. And this presidential hire, sure, you want somebody who's sympathetic toward athletics, and maybe that'll be part of it, right? Understanding the role that when Tech football is good, they get more enrollment, they get more marketability, you get advertising that you don't have to pay for, blah, blah, blah. No worries, Opal. No worries at all. So it's going to be interesting to see what this does with the as this develops. There's going to be a firm we know going to be hiring the AD. They're not just going to go out and I guess that makes sense considering the president is heading outward, that you would have to have a firm, a hiring firm in place to locate candidates as the athletic director. James Franklin will have a massive part in this. We already know that. He's basically confirmed to be one of the major voices in the new athletic director. And it sounds like that job's going to be specifically laid out. It's going to be much different. And in some ways, it's not. You know, in some ways, it's kind of a reminder of the definition of what that position is supposed to be, right? If the AD is just going to manage his coaches, athletes, and general operations, well, it takes the fundraising side of an AD out of it, which is something Witt struggled with until he got the ask, right? A lot of ADs struggle with that. It's not an easy thing to run the athletics department with your coaches, with your teams, with compliance, whatever it might be. And then, oh, by the way, now I have to go out and be gone 3 or 4 days a week trying to raise money. So this is going to separate that. And then the Hokie Ventures part's going to go out and try to raise all that extra money. So from that standpoint, I like the setup of it. It simplifies the athletic director's expectations and qualifications that they're going to have to hire them on to come in and say, this is what we need. And I don't think, if you are an AD, if you're one of the folks who's in line to interview and you might get this job, that would excite me, because that means, hey, I'm just here for a more traditional description of an athletic director's job. I don't have to worry about all this stuff, right? I mean, we're obviously going to try to limit costs and we're going to fall in line with budgets, but let Hokie Ventures worry about all that extra money. And really, it's going to be money to raise for pay for play. So it sounds like that, you know, here locally it's hitting because it's Tech, but this sounds like it's something that's going to be pretty hot and heavy, probably coast to coast here sooner than later. But we'll talk to all those folks about that because I think it's interesting. That kind of popped up late on Friday. Thunder Tech baseball going to be sent out to LA. It's going to be in the UCLA regional. UCLA is the number 1 overall seed in the baseball tournament, 51-6. And Tech may have to go head-to-head with UCLA, who was very fortunate. They won every game in the Big Ten. They came from behind in their last at-bat and won the Big Ten tournament in their last at-bat in every game. So we'll see if maybe they're starting to show some cracks. But Tech is the number 2 seed out there. They'll take on Cal Poly on Friday. But, if I'm a member of the Tech baseball team, that's exciting. You get to hop on the plane and head out to LA. You're done with school, and you get to play in the NCAA tournament. And, baseball is we saw it in the Big South tournament. They had to move it down to Gardner Webb. It was just a fiasco with all the rain. It rained every day. I mentioned how I believe the conference mishandled the whole Radford Longwood second game, but that same Longwood team, forced an extra game on Sunday, and Longwood almost won that tournament out of the losers bracket, but USC Upstate will go back to the NCAA tournament. But kudos to the Lancers. So we almost saw them go on a run, get timely pitching, big hits, and almost pulled that Big South tournament out. That's the thing about the baseball tournament. It's just not the same. Softball's the same way. As Tech found out in their regional, where they didn't have a good showing down in Louisiana. You know what? If pitchers are on hitting their spots, this doesn't matter, So we'll see how Tech does out there. And we'll see. I watched a couple of the UCLA. I didn't watch the whole games, but it's interesting. They had to fight back like they did in every game in that tournament. Kudos to them for doing that, but they're not infallible. Yeah. And that's the thing. Hearing Coach Ragsdale, and don't get me wrong, I love having, Marty on with him. It's great. Just watching Coach Ragsdale's mind, how it works, and no wonder he was such a great coach. He's a great teacher, but it's still there, man. It's just still there. And the way he recalls all these facts, and we're going to have them back here in the next couple of weeks. It's really, it's an opportunity that I just don't take for granted. I know you don't either, but I could just sit there and just absorb that all day long, just hearing him tell stories and talk about scenarios and games, and then his mindset about life and all these things. It's so interesting. We have been so fortunate where we are in our part of the world with the kind of leadership we've had as head coaches in football in particular. They stand out. We've had coaches, really good coaches in all sports, but it really stands out in football here locally. Some really terrific role models, and Coach Rags is just one of many. But we're very fortunate to have him. Yeah, he remembers the exact play. He can almost remember the yardage that was gained exactly. Blows you away, man. It's great. Speaking of coaches here, Blacksburg lost their head coach. Zach Leonard is going to leave Blacksburg and go to William Fleming. So now the Bruins are in need of a new football coach. So we'll see what happens there. I've not heard any updates. I know that's something that had been rumored for a while, so I don't think it's going to catch the administration over at Blacksburg High School off guard. But it's tough to have to hire a football coach in now, May, and in June. You can make the hire probably in June. Yeah, I don't know if they're going to bump up somebody or if they'll go out of the system. Who knows? We'll find out. Oh, there's no question. Yeah, the sportsmanship he's so uncompromising on. And boy, we've lost that so much. Of all the developments that we've had, and I wrote about this a while back, many months ago, in one of my articles for the Patriot. The look at me era of sports is one of the main things that make you just kind of go, for me anyway. Every time you make a simple play, you have to make some kind of gesture. The stupidity of the NFL. I'm just so tired of this defense when they get a turnover, the whole running down to the other end of the field. It's so tried. It's just so cringe. And maybe it's old school and people are going to say, oh, you get off my lawn. There's something about sportsmanship. You watch the hockey playoffs and all you get is nothing but just the most respectful athletes toward their game and their opponent. Hockey's always had their own inner celebrations when you have a goal. Nothing's ever directed at the opponent, and nothing's ever directed to be larger than the game itself. And because of the money that's involved, I think is the biggest aspect of it. Today's athletes have made themselves bigger than the games that they play. And for fans, we catch on that pretty quickly. And we don't like it. We're watching it for the game. We're watching the games because we played them. We grew up loving them. Some of our all-time favorite memories are attached to those games and the sport. And to see a new generation come on and just widely be accepted of disrespecting, I think, the sport more than their opponent and everything else has just gotten ridiculous. It's gotten ridiculous. But, well, fighting in hockey, Thunder, come on. It's been part of it for forever. Every roster has goons. At least 2 or 3 guys who can mix it up pretty good. And there's not really – that's been very toned down over recent decades. I mean, really toned down. You don't see the kind of in other words, this isn't Slapshot. Yeah, Blacksburg's been on the uptick. That's right. I think it's a very attractive job, Brian. I do. I think it's a very attractive job because they finally have things going in the right direction. I hear there's a lot of talent at the feeder levels. So I think it's a good opportunity. And, it's interesting that Zach Leonard, he's a PH guy, I believe, and going down to Fleming. We'll see how that works out for him. We'll see. Hey, Morris, good morning from Southwest Virginia. Opal is a tickling. Opal, look at that. You got mentioned in the open. Prometheus is a mixin'. He hasn't been here today. Only Prometheus is here today. Wayne is writing checks. Wayne's not here today. And here in Palm Coast, Morris is a chillin'. BDST's live and online. Good morning, Morris. Yeah, you got to mention the First Lady in the Morris opener. Absolutely. But yeah, I there you go, Wayne. But yeah, I just the upstaging of the sport, it's ridiculous. Every play, and it's happened. It's now in college football. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. And every gesture that has to be made after you make a tackle, a ball is thrown. You don't even make a play. You may be beaten by 2 steps as a cornerback, but the pass just happens to be, off target and the receiver can't make a play. And then the defensive back's going to do the stupid, just put the sword in my belt crap. And look, I'm all for having fun while you play. It's not about that. It's not about trying to take the fun out of it, but just don't disrespect the game. And I think that's where we are. Coach Ragsdale reminds us of that whenever he comes on. But it's gotten lost, man. It's completely lost. Absolutely lost. Oh, yeah, I didn't put it on I have to show. I didn't do that. Yeah, I had a whole plate of meat, man. I went all out. Let's see if I can get it to come up here. There you go. There's my my 2 big ribeyes. You've got the 2 fillets, and the other ones are the Denver steaks. So you got 3 different varieties of steak. There you go. And you had the preparation picture. And then you had the finale. All wonderfully medium rare to perfection. So, yeah. And then the final plate. I know people are going to fall over. Look at that green stuff on my plate. I do like asparagus. So there you go. The anti-Panera meal. I just decided, you know what? I got there when fresh cuts were put out, and I said, I'm just going to go ahead and splurge, man. My kids were over, and I said, you know what? Let's just go ahead and let's eat. Let's just eat. And we did. Exactly. Nurse Tickle. Hey, Nurse Tickle. We might get in trouble if we start using Nurse Tickle puns here on the show, Opal. We got to be careful with that. I want to keep those private. That's pretty funny. Got to be careful with that. So yeah, I think the Tech LLC thing will pass. I think Brandon, who I know, Brandon Hall, he will present it very, very well, and it'll be the next step into trying to keep this thing flowing until, if we ever get any kind of rules, which I don't think is going to happen. Your mom would have been proud, Rick. Yeah, that's the one thing I can do now. I'm not a chef by any stretch, but I can grill some meat. I can make some really good steak. I can do that. Oh, yep. Still got some left over too, so that'll be a nice lunch today or tomorrow. Things like that. Salmon as well. But yeah, burgers. You get my theme here, the ultimate carnivore. But yeah, I meant to put those here on the site, and I didn't get a chance to do it. So, yeah. Hey, I showed the funnel. I did show the asparagus. See there? You can see it. There you go. Right there in the middle. There it is. See that? Proud of me, Wayne? Look at that. But yeah, I've always liked asparagus with steak. Always. Always. Well, that's not going to happen, T-Bird. Not for this guy. Not going to do it. Wouldn't be prudent. Oh, yeah. Hey, look, some of the other folks that were here had salad. They handled the salad part. Yeah. They had the salad part. But that's the kind of play, because this year I really do want to do like the cookout bash during a football Saturday. And that's the kind of thing we'll just be doing. Now, I'm not buying meat for everybody. But it's BYOM. Bring your own. Bring your own meat here, and we'll get it going for you. And you can, if you want to cook it your own way, you can take over the grill. I don't care. But we need to do that during a football Saturday, so you can really enjoy it. It has to be Saturday, because Sunday, you're heading back in the next day to work. All right, so Greg Sankey, this is pretty funny. The SEC meetings get underway today. And of course, ESPN's covering this like we're talking about peace talks with Iran, because obviously there is a vested, conflicted, selfish interest in the SEC from ESPN, since they are bed buddies. So you're going to see every aspect of this thing get covered, unlike what happens with the Big Ten, the ACC, and the Big 12. Now, those other three schools are obviously on board for the 2014 playoff. They've been very adamant about it. The loudest conference has been the Big Ten. Whether the SEC and Greg Sankey and ESPN, whether they understand it or not, the Big Ten is now the new power leader in college athletics. It has surpassed the SEC. The revenue that it dished out, the championships, blah, 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 you name it, the Big Ten is now calling the shots as much as the SEC. If not calling the shots entirely, they're on equal ground now. It used to be, even though they had this alliance, the secret alliance, not so secret. Even though they had that, you still felt like the SEC was dictating to the Big Ten. I don't get that impression any longer at all. Sankey's going to build this up for as long as he can, because he knows he's going to have the platform to do it through ESPN. And all I know is you have 4 major conferences right now. 3 are already saying they're committed to the 2014 playoff. And the SEC is the only holdout. They're still saying we would be willing to go from 12 to 16. We don't want to go to 24. How much power are they going to have? Is this a last grasp effort? We shall see. We shall see. But it's going to be interesting to me to see. Now, we had the update there from David Teal last week, and I saw it from a couple of ADs yesterday that everything's on the table, and we've all got our own thoughts about where we should go. So what this is going to mean is there's going to be some arguing, and there's going to have to be some lassoing in of your own conference members to get everybody on the same page. Now, if you already have that many schools like Alabama, and the other rumored school, by the way, is Georgia, that is really pushing for the 2014 playoff, I don't know how they're going to come together on this thing. On the surface, whether you think it's too many teams or not, right? And we've talked about that and about it being watered down, and we can get into all these things again. But just looking at it on the surface, the SEC and the Big Ten would benefit the most in terms of participation, in all likelihood, with an expanded playoff. So it's going to be very interesting to me to see how this thing goes and see if they eventually come out at the end of these meetings and say, oh, guess by the way, we are now going to begrudgingly we're going to fall in line and go to 24. Or is the SEC trying to pull the ultimate power play here? We'll see. Are they trying to be that one juror who holds out for the hung jury? But don't worry, you won't have to guess about what's happening, because I'm sure they're going to have Pete Thamel standing outside SEC headquarters every hour with an update, as if we have some national emergency going on and we have to check in with Thamel to find out what Greg Sankey has said yet. Latest thing that Greg Sankey has said. Yeah, I saw your message this morning, Wayne. I don't care about rankings. I don't care about recruiting rankings anymore. I haven't for a long time, but now I really think they're just. I saw that Texas A&M is number one, according to 247, whatever their formula is. Let's see the next time Texas A&M contends for a national championship. Remember when Jimbo was there? You remember, don't you? Remember when I was there? Remember that last day recruiting? I came out and said we don't do things by buying players. Remember that when I said we didn't have to worry about that? We're Texas A&M. And then the last 2 5-star defensive players who were sitting there all day long negotiating for the best deal, each said, hey, we're going to be Aggies. I don't know what happened to either one of those guys. I don't even remember their names. I think one was a defensive lineman, maybe a nose guard or an end, and the other one was like a defensive back or something. And then we found out, hey, they're not very good, are they? Texas A&M. Yeah, and everybody who's, on that list from 247 spending a lot of money. I think people are forgetting how much money is now being spent on high school recruiting classes. Do you think that's just old-fashioned recruiting? No. I wonder how many, I didn't look at the list that closely. I wonder how many are in the SEC and the Big Ten, because they have obviously the most money. Is the entire top 10 made out of the SEC and the Big Ten? I mean, I don't know. I'm asking that question. Let me know, Wayne. Let me know what you find out. Joining us now on the program, there she is. It's Marva in Miami. Good morning, Marva. How are you?
Good morning, Rick. How are you?
Doing all right. Got a little frog in my throat this morning, but I'm
okay. See.
Yeah, hanging in there. How was everybody's Memorial Day?
It was nice. This year, our family really didn't do anything that big for the day. I talked to the kids, of course, my husband and I, about what it meant, but we just didn't. This was just a quiet weekend for us. We really didn't do anything too special.
Yeah, that's kind of me too. And those turn out most of the time to be the best decisions that you make, right?
Because places are packed, on holiday weekends, and we just didn't do much.
No, don't do much at all, and that's okay. That's okay. I figured maybe you'd be at the Marlins games. I didn't know if they had home games.
But I saw a really thrilling Marlins game though over the weekend.
Yeah,
I'm sure you watched it against the Mets. You watched?
No.
You missed it. Oh my goodness, what were you doing with yourself?
I missed it.
Well, I'll just set the stage for you. I mean, this.
Yeah.
It was, nobody had scored. And it was the end of the game. Nobody had scored. You're wondering, is it going to go to extra innings? And then the Marlins, they, I have the bases are loaded, and you're thinking, what's going to happen here? What's going to happen? And you get a walk-off grand slam. So it's 4-0 against the Mets. It was great. Yeah.
Wow. Go Marlins. Go Fish.
Yes. I mean, the Marlins aren't doing so great in the standings now, though, Rick.
No.
They had a great series against the Mets, but the Mets also aren't doing very well.
The Mets aren't very good. Isn't it amazing? Now, there you go. Highest payroll along with the Dodgers, right? The Mets. And here they are, one of the worst teams. They've already didn't they fire their manager already? I think they did.
I don't know, but it's vastly different records there with the high payroll. So it just shows money isn't always
correct.
What you need to succeed.
100%. I agree.
I mean, it helps. It certainly helps, but you have to have a lot of other things in place too.
Right. Which the Dodgers do. The Dodgers have all the money, but they also have one of the best farm systems, if not the best. And they can get anybody they want. So
they're stacked. So
yeah. So what do you think is going to happen? The SEC today, the ACC, the Big 10, the Big 12, they're all on board. 2014 playoff. ACC, Jim Phillips talking about it again yesterday. You just can't stop talking about it. But the SEC is acting like they're going to be,
they're not
firm, and they're not going to commit to it, which is strange to me because a lot of their coaches were part of the AFCA 3 weeks ago when the American Football Coach Association voted that they wanted the 24 teams. Many of those coaches are from the SEC, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens here.
I don't know, this push for all the more teams. Is it going to lead to a better product though on the field?
No, it's not.
So if it's not, then it's just I guess another money grab, right?
That's all it is. That's all. That's the only.
We've seen the same thing in basketball. It's just like, come on, isn't there enough money already? But there's never enough.
No, there's not.
Can never be enough. Why don't we just let every team? Duke it out. We'll just let this thing go for months and months, and then, I don't know what's happening. It's sad if you think about it. It really is. I mean, I understand the people who always feel like they're just on the outside. They want to get a chance to get in, and I get that. But it just feels like you're diluting your product. And what's going to happen is maybe some of the money will dry up because maybe the TV revenue, people will stop watching and say, this thing hasn't really started yet. It's kind of like when they did the first four with the NCAA tournament. And it's like a lot of people didn't pay attention to those first four games at first. Now we've got some that have been pretty good. But at first it was like, the tournament hasn't really started yet. We're not going to pay attention to these first four games. So I don't know, but people love football though, Rick. Right?
That's the problem.
Even just okay football, people are still going to watch.
They're going to watch.
I mean, if it's just okay.
If
it's really awful though, people will.
But even if you're sitting there on like whatever day and you're watching Pitt in Wisconsin, the number 18 seed versus the number 20 whatever 2 seed, you're going to go, okay, well. Let's put the football game on because it's football. You're exactly right. And that's what they know is going to happen. The ratings will be huge.
They know that we love the football.
We can't not watch football. Right.
Yeah. So they've got us. It's going to be, I don't know. It's just kind of sad. But there's nothing we can do, right? So
the basketball tournament made me sad because that's just such a great event. Football, I'm just kind of like, it does. Got to be honest, I've never – since I heard about the 24, I'm just like, okay, whatever. It was going to go there at some point anyway. Might as well just get it all done at once. It won't go beyond 24, in my opinion. I think that's where it'll stop. But
I hope not.
Go ahead and jump into it. Maybe you can tweak it a few years, perfect it, and as best you can. And it was going there anyway. So.
Yeah, the basketball bothered me too because that's a special.
Yeah,
thing,
exactly.
It's so special. It's such a great time of year. It's just such a fun thing to watch, and you get to learn about new players and see a small school come from out of nowhere occasionally and do something big.
I know.
But I just don't know what it's going to be like. But again, I love college basketball, so I will be begrudgingly watching, but I'll be complaining all the way.
It's going to be like watching early rounds of the conference tournaments you don't care about.
Yeah.
It's going to be like watching an SEC first round or second round matchup that
Don't really care about.
Auburn playing, Mississippi State or something. That's what
Yeah.
it's going to be like. And we're going to be like, eh.
But I probably won't watch all of the game, right? Like, you want to come in if it's close at the second half, maybe you will watch a little bit of it. Maybe you'll watch the last 10 minutes.
The football game, you mean?
No, I'm talking about
basketball.
Like, basketball. Like if it's close, you don't have to know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'll watch this.
Basketball's easy to check out of. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
But
football, you're like, I better not stop watching. Who knows what might happen?
Well, it's just kind of where we are though right now, right?
It is.
It's all a money grab, and they will say it's for we want to get more schools involved. We want more kids to have a chance to experience this. That's how it'll be phrased. But that's not what it's really about.
Does Carolina, by the way, and I should have looked this up before I asked you, do they have the LLC in place like Tech is going to vote on and pass here June the 1st to separate athletics and their business doings from the campus? Is that?
I have not heard about that, but
Carolina
I know a lot of schools are going to that, right?
Yeah, I think it's.
I get why they're doing it, but yeah,
Absolutely.
I have not heard about Carolina doing that. I think eventually you'll see. Don't you think you'll see pretty much all of the big schools will do that?
Yep.
Yeah.
I think it's the only way to go. It's
Yeah.
the only way you have any hope. Yep.
It's just a different world, Rick, right? We just got to get on board, and it's not going to change, right? So
no, it's not. But if I'm an upcoming young AD, I'm excited because I don't have to worry about fundraising anymore. I just get to deal with my athletic programs and my coaches and look at budgets and watch budgets, but let everybody else worry about the money. If I'm a young AD, I'm excited.
Right. Yeah, that is an opportunity.
Yeah.
But still, it's one of those things. It's kind of sad. Yeah,
it is.
It's where we are. And you have to learn how to compete in that new environment. Because if you don't, you risk getting left behind.
Well, the NBA got what it wants. It's got the biggest media market in the world in the finals, the Knicks. We don't know who they're going to play yet. If it's Knicks, I don't know. I guess it doesn't matter. Spurs, Thunder. Are you going to take the time to watch the NBA final?
I will watch some. Like, I have watched some here and there, like throughout the process. And it's just right now, just a very busy time for us, for our family. I saw Wayne after the kids are out of school yet. Not yet, very close.
One more week?
My son will be done on Thursday. My daughter will be done on the next Thursday. Okay. So yeah, like I've watched some of it here or there because my husband's been watching, and so I'll watch a little bit. It's only because I've just been very busy why I haven't watched more. But yeah, I've been impressed by some of what I've seen, and I'm already hearing it from Knicks fans. Like they are so excited. Like they are convinced that this is going to be their year. And, we'll see. I mean, it's kind of amazing what they've done. Let's see what happens here. And I will watch some of the games. Yes. I can't say I'm going to watch every game because I just can't be dishonest with you, Rick. I just can't. But I will watch, definitely. I'll be watching part of it. And, if it's about to wrap up, I will definitely watch, the final game.
53 years since that's hard to believe. 53 years since the Knicks last won an NBA title. 1973. That's crazy.
Wow. It is.
Isn't that crazy?
It is. And I mean, you can see why their fan base is just ecstatic, because they have been, close before.
The Rockets got them. Yeah.
The
Rockets
you thought it was going to be their year, and it didn't. So, I don't really, I don't have a rooting interest in any of the teams that are left. So I just hope it's a good, hope we see some good games.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see some actual, good basketball in the NBA. Wouldn't that be great? That'd be awesome.
Ryan is saying he's enjoying the Western Conference Finals.
Well, he's also an Eagles fan. So, yeah.
Okay. Why are we disparaging Eagles fans?
We're not. We have a lot of them, actually.
Ryan alone. Yes. Yeah. So,
yeah. I'm going to try to consciously watch.
Yeah, watch a couple games. Like you don't have to even watch the whole thing. Like you can just catch some of the action. And I've been, like I said, I go in and out. I see my husband watching. I'll watch a little bit, and it's very different, from regular season. So it's exciting to see. And again, Knicks fan is all ready. They are primed and ready to go. And let's see. I'm sorry. It's hard to talk, and then I'm looking down to see what Ryan is saying. So,
Well, he's right. Yeah, the Knicks played the Rockets, and I'm a Rockets lifer. So during those
that's
finals,
the
they split the screen. That was the night of the big OJ Simpson Bronco chase.
Oh,
yeah,
okay, yeah.
And I remember they had the game on, and then they had the OJ chase on the screen with it.
Wow.
And then they broke it down. Then they got rid of the game and came back and picked up the game where it left off at one point. I think I can't remember which game of the series that was.
I don't know if that was one of the last times when everybody seemed to be watching the same thing.
Yeah.
Talk about that, like with the kids, when there were times when there are certain things everybody was watching, and now we have so many options that even if something really big happens, people are so everybody's in their own little segment. Maybe somebody, my kids are watching something on Netflix, they don't know what's happening, right? Because they're watching whatever their favorite show is on Netflix. So just a little look back to a different time.
And I think that whole thing too, that's when the whole news broke about what happened with OJ and his right, because we hadn't heard anything about it. And all of a sudden, they're saying OJ Simpson's in a car chase. He's suspected of killing his wife, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, nobody
knew
what was going on. And I mean, in that area, these like car chases and those things, that's very big in that area, of California and breaking in news. But usually, it doesn't become national news. And so,
right.
That was wild.
Yeah, during the finals, Ryan. That's exactly right. That's
Very
exactly
wild.
right. Yeah. Remember that vividly.
I'm hoping there will be no big crime activity during the finals this year.
That'd be great, wouldn't it? Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah, one day with no big.
I'm guessing the league wants the Spurs because of Wembayama, even though OKC is the defending champs and they have the MVP. I don't know. I'm guessing they probably want the Spurs, though.
They probably do.
They wouldn't admit it one way or the other, but it feels like they'd want Spurs to play.
They're happy about the Knicks. They wouldn't say that.
No.
But that's any of the leagues. So there's certain teams they would love to see. Because they know there's certain teams that people are going to watch either because they love them or either they, love to hate them. So that's the teams they want, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, New York.
They will never say it, and that's okay. Like, it's a business thing, right?
I think they're okay to say it's good that a New York team's in because of the media market, right? I think they're okay. They can get away with that. It'll be like people.
But even then, though, I don't think they will hit onto it too hard because they don't want.
No, they won't. Bases. Yeah, then all of a sudden you're rooting for the Knicks. Yeah.
No. And I don't really know even if they're rooting for the Knicks, but just the fact that they're in it
in New York
makes them happy. The fact that they're in it does make them happy. And then you get all the celebrities showing up.
100%. 100%.
If I don't know about OKC, I'm sorry, not OKC. I mean, I don't know the celebrities. Like, for example, when they have games here in Miami, because people love coming to Miami, there are going to be a lot of celebrities, and I love to show all the celebrities sitting there. It's funny, just a few days ago, my husband and I talked about it. He's like, I would never want to sit courtside. He's like, it's an awful place to sit for watching the game. And I said, if somebody because they were talking about how expensive the courtside seats were for the Knicks. And he said, I wouldn't want to sit there because you can't really see. And it's not really about seeing the game. Yes, it is partly, but it's also about being seen, right?
Correct.
You want to be seen. He's like, yeah, I'd rather be up in, some kind of luxury box if I got a, luxury game experience rather than sitting there courtside. There's also a good chance, a player might end up in your lap or something. So,
well, that'd be kind of cool. Like, yeah, if you're involved in that'd be kind of cool. Like if you're trying to keep somebody from crashing into the crowd or something like that.
I mean, maybe. I don't know.
That'd be all right. That'd be kind of cool.
I don't know. I just think some big
Michael Jordan diving for a ball. I don't know. If MJ back in his days diving for a ball, oh no, I better catch Michael Jordan. Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. You'd be all over the place.
Responsibility, yeah. So.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens there. We'll see what happens. Yeah.
It should be something fun. I mean, I feel like for so many people these days, for people who are not the diehard basketball fans, there are a lot of people, they're just sitting around waiting, for football season. I mean, I live with someone like this, even though he's every day. He seems to be listening to a Cowboys podcast or watching a show. They have a million shows on YouTube, Rick. a million.
Oh, I'm
I think
sure.
he knows all of them. And he's talking about all this stuff, and I'm just like, I don't know what he's talking about, but he's very excited about it. And I feel like there are a lot of people like that. This is the big off season. They're just waiting.
They are the football brand of the world. The
Yeah,
Dallas Cowboys. They might be the sports brand of the world.
Maybe.
Because they're the richest. They're the richest team. You got the Yankees. I mean, that's a good question to think about too. A good discussion to have. Who in this country represents the most dominant fan base, right? And it would be the Dallas Cowboys. We were talking about this with Mike Ashley on Friday. It doesn't go away. They haven't won a title.
It doesn't.
33 years, but it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I mean, every day, Rick, the man is watching one of their shows every day. And I come up and I'm like, what? Who is this guy? You see some weird guy on the TV because he's got like the YouTube up on the TV. And it's, I don't know, some guy talking about the most obscure Dallas Cowboys thing. But he's locked in. He's locked in.
Who's his favorite all-time Cowboy? Do you know that?
I don't know. I'll have to ask him.
Wait a minute. This is like the newlywed game, and you don't know your husband?
I'm just checking my check just to see if he's been, because he does listen to the show. No, he's not. He really shouldn't be tech because he's actually driving right now. But yeah, I don't know who his favorite is. I know several of his favorites, though. There are several that he really likes a lot. So, but I don't know who his all-time favorite is.
I'd like to know who his all-time favorite.
I'll find out and report back.
Yeah, let me know.
But yeah, these guys, Rick, and these guys have so many followers. These Cowboys guys who have these shows on YouTube, so many followers, and they're just talking about, you're like, what are you talking about? Like somebody they picked up really late in the draft, and like, people are sleeping on this guy.
Oh, I know.
I'm just like, so it's funny. It's good though. It's a nice, I guess, hobby. Called a hobby to be a fan like that. I don't know.
Well, you're a fanatic. That's what fan means. And that if you're watching podcasts in the off season to that degree, then yes, your husband fits the bill of being a fanatic. Correct.
Yes.
Correct. Well, that's fine. Hey, you know what? You're right. It's a
harmless,
distraction.
right?
Yeah, hobby's a good word. It takes you out of the real world. That, you know what? I'm all for that. That's why we all do it. Like
Cowboys world.
Correct. Now, the real pain of Cowboys world mirrors the pain of regular world during the football season when they're losing a lot of games.
But in the off season,
in the off season, right?
Everybody's hopeful. Everybody sees a Super Bowl. Like one of the guys was talking about how the Cowboys schedule is so good this year. It's really, there's just, and again, I don't know, because I come in and out of these things, Rick. I don't really watch them. I come in and out. I see a few minutes, and I kind of like, what are you doing? And then I walk away.
Yeah, you just walk away. I will say this: the peeps here got me. I'm watching Landman.
Oh, Tony Dorsett.
Tony Dorsett is his favorite player. Okay,
yes, he texted me. So again, he's listening to the show because he's driving right now. So he's listening.
That makes perfect sense. Touchdown, Tony. I get it. I understand. He's probably my favorite Cowboy running back, even more than Emmett. Yeah, Tony Dorsett was special. Yeah, I get that. Marva, who's your favorite Tar Heel? Rodney asks. Because Rodney's also a Tar Heel.
Oh, okay.
Now, you talking basketball? Yeah, we're talking basketball.
Basketball.
Yeah.
Well, of course, people are going to say Michael Jordan. I feel like Michael Jordan is a special category by himself. But for me, I really love Tyler Hansborough so much. Just that dog in him. That's what I love so much. He was just a fighter. That's what I loved. He was just in it. He was in it, and I love that attitude about him. So I would probably say him.
Okay, interesting.
But I feel like, because I said Michael's in a different category.
Michael, you have to separate a little bit.
He's separate. He's not. Yeah, he's separate. But yeah, I really love Tyler Hansborough and watching him play.
And he was still developing at Carolina, Michael Jordan. He wasn't the massive worldwide phenomenon. Yeah.
Right. I used to call him Mike Jordan.
Mikey. Yeah, Mike Jordan.
Wait.
Yeah.
I'm getting some weird texts now, so I don't know. But I'm still thinking it is definitely Tony Dorsett. But I see my daughter texted saying, "Mom, I wrote that." So Dad is not texting. She was.
Okay.
Or Dad. Okay, so I feel good. Okay.
Wayne says he's surprised it's not Armando Baycott because he was there for 10 years.
Wayne, that's so easy. Come on. He was not there for 10 years, okay?
Phil
He
Ford,
got an
good
extra
call.
COVID year, just like everybody else who was playing during that time. Just stop it. Just stop it, okay?
Remember Phil Ford? Yep. Phil Ford used to be on the show. Used to have used to have Phil Ford on the show quite often back in the first run of the show.
You should get him back on the show.
Yeah, where is he now?
He
was
around.
He was in an NBA. Yeah.
He's at games. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know. It's allergies. I'm not getting the emotional over this.
Marva's just breaking into tears over all these questions about.
It's just I have the worst allergies ever, and sometimes my eyes just tear up. I'm not getting emotional about this. Okay.
I'm trying to find where Phil Ford is today.
But I know he's still around, like the pro. Like
he is in Raleigh.
Yeah. So
he lives in Raleigh. He's working for the Educational Foundation. It's a fundraising arm for Carolina's athletic department. It's a great choice.
Yeah, that's a great job, right?
Yeah, if I can figure out how to get a hold of him, I'll reach out to Phil again. He was great
on the show, please.
Yeah, I don't know how to get it. I don't. But you know what? I bet West Durham. I'll work on it.
Yeah, I really think you should move to having a Carolina person on the show daily.
Daily.
Yeah. I mean, it's not for me, Rick. It's for what the people want.
Maybe I should reach out to Tyler Hansborough since he's out of basketball.
Hey, I bet he would come on.
What if I surprised you one day? Hey, Marva, guess who's going to join it? Here comes Tyler Hansborough.
Yes. That would be my last show.
You would die, Marva. Just sit there.
But you should really. I think people are begging for this, that you have a Carolina person on daily. Okay. And Drake. Oh my gosh, you got to get Drake on. Now's a great time to get him on.
You know what you have to go through to get NFL players on? It is like
hard.
It is very difficult.
Because you have a lot of layers to go through.
It didn't used to be, but boy, oh boy, now you got to go through like 2 people. Then they got to clear it with the agent. It's just so much. Try to get a player. Yeah.
But I think if you just approach whatever you need to do to get Drake and say Marva really wants Drake on, and
I'll name drop. I'll just use your name. Yeah. Okay.
So people want a plethora of tech people. Georgia Tech?
The people want a plethora of Georgia Tech. Yeah, I don't know what tech they're meaning.
Yeah. Georgia Tech is surprising, but
me too. Here, I don't know why we're thinking about tech. Who knows?
We know, Brandon. Just messing with you.
All right. Well, great stuff. Tell your son congrats. He's made it to the finish line. Your daughter next week, right?
Yes.
So that's good.
And she's pretty much at the finish line. Like, believe it or not, she had a big project due today. She turned it in yesterday. It's just like, big project, right?
Yeah, she's in the home stretch. It's kind of a fun time now. You're just going to school, and you're not really doing much.
She told me my grades already said they're not. They said we're not going to grade anything else.
Yeah, exactly. Well, have a great rest of the week, and tell your hubby that I agree with him about Tony Dorsett. So
okay, we'll do.
All right. Be safe. Have fun this week.
You too. Bye.
Thanks, Ms. Marva. There you go, Marva, Miami. Good stuff from Marva. Good stuff from Marva. So we announced, by the way, the show I'm going to be doing with Dwight here on the channel. And we have our winner for the name. We threw out there, by the way. And we're going to do that during the football season. The professional door text line's going nuts. I missed you all too. People were checking in yesterday. Thank you. Victory from the Tunnel, VICK. See? That's what we're going to go with. That's going to be the name of our hour-long program during the tech season, previewing that week's game, reviewing what happened, and we're going to have, Brandon, you ready? We're going to have tech players from the past will join us on the program as well. So we got a lot of ideas. Dwight is developing some things, and it's going to be a blast. So get ready for that. Yeah, victory formation was second, but people love the tunnel reference, and I do too, to be honest with you. Whenever we see a Tech game, what are they showing? I mean, obviously they're showing Sandman, but what are they showing? They're showing them in the tunnel, running out, rubbing the hokey stone. Dwight has told how many stories over the years about what that meant walking down there to get to the edge of the tunnel. So I think it's a great title, and we're going to be doing that. Yeah. Have a show with Bud and Paul John. So they can just yell at each other so Bud can just curse him. You know what? Talked to Coach Foster last week, and we're going to have him on in June. We'll cover why the Paul Johnson offense, and he said it back when he was on the show every week when Paul Johnson was the coach. He hated playing them. He hated playing them. And those are the kind of insights I can't wait to hear him break down. The first show is going to be about the game plan for the Ohio State game. I want to hear him just, I want to hear him just go nuts about that. That'll be fun. That'll be fun. So anyway, we got a lot coming up. Still one more announcement coming up I haven't made yet, which that will come soon as well. Rodney says Tyler Hansborough is right there as well. I get it. You're right. He was a terrific college basketball player. And you know what? We talked about respecting the game. That guy, he played the game like every game was his last. You couldn't help, regardless of what you thought, if you didn't like him. And I never really disliked him at all. You always respected how hard he played the game, 100%. NRB Super Bowl. We're going to have our bash there, by the way. 540-382-5525 every Saturday, 11 p.m., 1 a.m., they are going to have, or they have had, the NRB Nightlife is what they call it. They've got the Neoverse going, glow-in-the-dark bowling. I don't know about you, but they had me at glow-in-the-dark bowling. So when we go over there for the bash, we're going to create the NRV Nightlife at the Super Bowl. It's going to be a lot of fun. Sundown Electric, the Smith Brothers. Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate you. Long list of satisfied clients attest to our superior craftsmanship, attention to detail, clear communication, honest integrity. They are the best. The Ready Set Fund, readysetfund.com. Floyd County girls softball needed help with their uniforms, travel, food, things like that. They raised $4,300 in 5 days. Reach out to Bob Christ, BOBCRST11 at Gmail. Find out more about that terrific text message program. Lawson's Mobile Home Supply has been doing it since 1997. James is terrific, 540-381-8011, season-long Virginia Tech season ticket holder, or long-time Virginia Tech football season ticket holder. 300 North Franklin Street in Christiansburg. Travis Williams and Professional Door Incorporated, residential commercial garage door, sponsor of our text line at 391-0788. And nothing but just constant text coming in on the text line. It's great. Thanks, Trav. Appreciate you and congratulations on everything. National Bank, member FDIC's exclusive banking partner of yours truly. And this program, just refinance things. Got it all in the nice one little payment. And they took something that I thought was going to be very, very hard, and made it very simple throughout the entire process. They were wonderful. And I thank them so much for how easy they made everything. The attorney Ryan Pry, our BDST fan question of the week, 701 West Main Street in Radford, trust and estate planning. So we got to come up with a good question. Do you want to surround it around the NBA Finals? You know what? Maybe we should go around. Who's your choice for the greatest American sports franchise? How's that? We'll take the show's pulse on that question. The greatest American. Now, you got to put away your personal. I'll probably just get it may not be a good question because people are just going to vote for the team that they pull for. Little River Heating and Hair, 1095 Radford Street in Christiansburg. Wayne, you're good at coming up with these questions. Counting on you, co-producer. 540-553-2971. We're presented each and every day by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. That's Jonathan Sweet, Tim Miller leading the way there. McClellan Chiropractic over off of Walters Drive. Mark Hunley, sponsor of our chat room. Appreciate him and all the great work that he does, making your body feel better. Mark's the best. And Family Fencing, sponsor of our studios here in Reiner, 540-200-8294. Reach out and give them a quote today. We got lots of stuff going on. Lots of stuff going on. And there's always lots of stuff going on right here with this guy, Brian Siegler from the Boundary Corner. What's going on, man? How are you?
What's going on, Rick? How we doing this morning?
Doing all right, man. Doing all right. And how did you enjoy a little extra time off? You get to chill and enjoy time with the fam?
Yeah. I had a nice little long weekend. We were still able to get a little bit of a cookout in yesterday, and weren't able to get outside as much as we would have liked to. The rain kind of kept everything inside, but it was a good weekend overall.
Yeah, it was a lot of rain, wasn't it? A lot of rain.
Yeah.
But it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
We needed the rain. I don't know if we needed it all at once.
No, we didn't need it all at once. It never stopped really here in Ryder. I know that much. But hey, put the grill underneath the canopy and just have a good time that way.
There we go.
I want to talk to you about this looks good to me, this whole Virginia Tech creating Hokie Ventures LLC, just a complete simplification of what the new athletic director's job will be and what Brandon Hall, who will likely be in charge of it because he did at Clemson, created this whole thing and what they're going to be doing. This seems like the only way really for athletic departments to do business going forward. In other words, be a separate business for themselves from the university. And this just goes in line to show you that Tech is getting very serious and understands now the environment in which they live.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like this would be maybe like the fifth or sixth of these that have been formed. Looks like Clemson, Kentucky, Michigan State, Texas Tech have done something similar. As you said, Brandon was down there with Clemson at one point when they were getting that going. So it's an exciting time. I think it's going to definitely streamline the way the athletic department works and operates. And as you said, kind of delineates what the roles of the athletic director are going to be and kind of pulling these other aspects of at least the, if not football in particular, the profitable sports in general, how they operate and how they get things done on the recruiting side, the fundraising side, all the sponsorships. There's so many things that, this entity can kind of take off the plate of the AD and really help keep the focus on those important aspects of those profitable sports like basketball and football.
And if I'm an athletic director and eventually get the job like this in this new setup, I'm excited as hell because all I'm doing now is dealing with what I'm supposed to be doing, right? My teams, my coaches, we'll deal with our budgets, general operations, but then we don't have to worry about going out and hey, let's go raise some more money. I've talked to so many athletic directors and they're all just like, man, that side of it, they just gets them down. And now they won't have to worry about that anymore in Blacksburg. So,
yeah. And maybe we're not doing stuff like, scheduling home contest at ODU or anything like that anymore. Right. So trying to drum up support in the region and all that other stuff. Like maybe we don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah, man, that'd be great, wouldn't it? Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah,
great.
I mean, as much as it's fun to have those in-state games, like going to Norfolk, it was a no-win scenario for Virginia Tech every single time. And
I know.
It's like if you go there and win by 3 touchdowns, you were supposed to, and if you don't, or worst case scenario lose, which we did, more often than we'd like to say. It's just a slap in the face of the program.
That's a great way to put it. You're correct. And that's why I keep going back and, this comes up a lot, but the one sport where Babcock was brought in here to make sure he maintained after Frank Beamer, he failed at every level. And so I cannot just say, well, he did a wonderful job with softball. No, it doesn't matter. He failed. And just things like that series, like you're mentioning, that going to Liberty, all these things, just none of it made any sense, did it? None of it.
It was very frustrating to watch, and it was you put yourself in a scenario where you don't even really see a benefit in those games.
No,
from Virginia Tech. It almost felt like charity for the sake of marketing, but the marketing never bore fruit, and it bears even less fruit when you go somewhere and you don't have a good showing.
Yeah.
So it never seemed like something that was worth the all the hangups and negativity that came with it, because there really weren't any positive gains from those games.
Well, and I've talked about it a lot with Dwight, and I'm sure you have too. I mean, the whole thing was sold as, hey, we're doing this because, hey, Virginia Tech recruiting in the 757 is so low. Well, the last time I checked, they didn't need to go to all that, but just show up in the 757. They already owned it. Yeah. Virginia Tech owned the why? So that didn't make any sense to me either. That whole
if the coaches are showing up like they should, which towards the end of the Fuente era they were not. Then you don't need to take a trip to Norfolk with the whole team.
No. In a game they're not motivated to play. Yeah. That the other team's treating like they're Super Bowl, and that, we're walking into a minefield. We're allowing 49 points to ODU, right? It's just,
then you get broken elevators and stuff stolen out the locker room, and it's not worth it.
It's just not worth it. It's just not worth it. But so that won't happen. That won't happen anymore. With the new setup combined with James Franklin, that won't happen anymore. If anything like that is going to happen, they'll be playing in Blacksburg, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm hoping the new AD has the memo that trips to Norfolk and Lynchburg are non-starters.
You would hope, wouldn't it? Yeah, 100%. And I hope at some point, if JMU can keep it going under Billy Napier, I'm hoping at some point they can figure out how to, if you're going to have a game like that, that's who you should be playing.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
If you're going to play an in-state team at a lower conference, that's the one you want to have on your schedule. And I know that we bumped them off the schedule this year, but there were some extenuating circumstances with that, with adding a new ACC contest in there. Someone had to go. Someone was going to get bumped. So, we don't know exactly what the calculus was that in terms of schedule availability and all that stuff, but it looked like JMU was on the chopping block from the get-go once that new ACC contest was thrown in there.
The calculus was, oh no, we could lose this game. We won't lose the VMI. That was the calculus. But, so everybody's getting all excited about these recruiting rankings. I guess the question I want to ask you is, do you pay much attention to that anymore? I certainly don't. But I know a lot of people think that's the end for all.
I think it's a good measuring stick for a new coach when you don't have anything else to go off of yet. So
there you go.
I'm certainly dialed in, probably more than I have been in recent years. And some of that is due to the fact that you got James Franklin in-house. It's really the only measuring stick that we have right now that's objective. So we have that right now, and that's kind of what we're basing our wins in the off season off of. I think you can also look at, from a national brand standpoint, Virginia Tech is as high as it's been at least since 2017, if not before, in terms of national brand and being in the media, having national media talk about your program. I think we're probably that's another measuring stick that we can talk about in terms of off-season success until we start playing actual games. But at the same time, none of this matters until they get on campus, they lace them up, they go out there and they do the things. But in terms of program perception, it's important. Getting a guy like Bork in your program is important for program perception as you start building this thing up. So
it'll mean more to me if they ever bring any rules into play to make sure kids have to stay. You can't just, keep jumping up. But I don't see that changing anytime soon. There's going to be too many legal challenges to it. But if they ever would make it responsible to help protect these athletic departments and these programs, then maybe they would mean a little bit more, right? I don't know.
Yeah. And until Congress moves on something, We're not seeing that because any rule that's made at the state is going to get challenged here, going to get challenged there. It's like I said, you get, basically 49 different different challenges to all these rules that the NCAA is trying to put in place right now.
I know.
And it's going to be problematic until Congress makes a move. But at the same time, you get situations where, when we look at Franklin, I think the thing that gives you hope in the portal era, the NIL era under Franklin, is that he's done historically at Penn State in the NIL era a good job of retaining talent year to year. I don't know if there's any other, coach at that level that's done as well retaining talent that's already on the roster. So if you're recruiting well and those recruits are bearing fruit long term and you're able to retain that talent, then that's a good calculus to in 2-3 years to really have something where you've got a roster that's really deep. And I think that's the thing that Virginia Tech has struggled with the most is depth. I think we've had some decent frontline talent at places, but we were 1 or 2 injuries away from the wheels falling off.
Well, and yes, Franklin has helped tremendously in that regard, but the money has also helped. I mean, that's what, and if I'm a Tech fan, that's what I'm most encouraged about. You'll be able to stay in there with some of these higher ranked kids financially, right? Because people just are continuing to have the mindset they're going to the school over everything else, and they're not. They're still going for, not all cases, not everything is, covered up in the same umbrella, but for the most part, they're looking for the best deal and the best fit, obviously, with the coach. But they're looking to get paid, just like the guys who are already, transferring out in the portal. It's the same thing.
Yeah, you don't always have to have the best offer, but you have to have a offer that's at least competitive enough with everything else put into the pot.
100%. 100%. Well, we'll see where it all ends up. And like you said, get them on campus and hopefully they commit. They actually have a commitment. That'd be great, wouldn't it? That we're actually holding commitments, have decisions that are made are actually decisions you're making for more than just material gain. But that's the proof will be in the pudding how that does going forward with all these guys. So we'll see.
Yeah, and I mean, we keep, Caden Buchanan just committed over the weekend. That was a big one, getting a interior offensive lineman in the boat there. 4-star on 24/7. Very high 3-star composite guy. Could definitely see that getting bumped up, across the board there to where he's a composite 4-star. This class is looking really good so far. So I'm excited about what they're doing. And the thing that I look at more than kind of individual recruits or kind of just where we stack in the top 25 is looking at that average recruit ranking, and we're creeping towards 89 average. And I don't think we've ever seen that. Even the best years of Pry and Fuente, we were hovering right around that, 88, just over 88. This is really getting us kind of into a little bit of uncharted waters in terms of those average recruit rankings. And it's exciting to see that continue to climb up and up. So keep this thing going. I'm excited about what they're doing. And now we just got to go out there and win some games in the fall.
And that's going to be it right there, right? You got to win games this fall to keep it going. If Tech, and I don't think it'll happen. I think they're going to win at least 7 or 8 games. But if they were to go 500 or something, then all of a sudden that's going to cause, you're right. Winning's the one thing now you have to do, even in year one to a certain degree. You're not expecting maybe to win the whole thing. But then again, Virginia and Duke played in the ACC title game. So who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
And Virginia was an awful team the year before that. So,
right.
And the strategy that they're going at is completely different than what Franklin's employing. And they are very much live and die by the portal under Tony Elliott.
Yep, they are. They are. He evaluated
which is
well
it's funny seeing him come from Clemson, and that's kind of the framework is like, notoriously Clemson was not using the portal in some cases at all. And only recently to a degree where you could even look at it and say that it's any sort of consequential improvement of their roster. And then you see Elliott go up to Virginia, and by and large, I mean they're patchworking their offensive line with portal guys pretty much every year, and to varying degrees of success. Obviously, last year they got the recipe right and had a pretty good year. Some of that starts with having the right quarterback and having the right blend of offensive linemen. I think, their defense wasn't significantly improved year to year. I think it was better than it has been, the previous Elliott years. But, I think the biggest thing is if you can block and you've got a quarterback that can do some good things with the football, whether it's throwing it or running it, then, that's a pretty good recipe for success, especially with, they've shown a pretty good ability to bring in good wide receivers as well. So, that's been something good for that team as well.
Yeah, and David Till made the point last week, Brian. With Tech, we followed them obviously here in our area, but Virginia keeps things very quiet. You don't hear about anything they really do, right? They don't get a lot of coverage. They don't go out and try to go out and publicize it. Then at the end of the year, here's what we have. And then they went out last year, like you said, and they got off to a good start. And they had some really good, you could tell immediately their talent grade was night and day. And I don't know if they're trying to do the same thing now. We'll have to wait and see. But as Teal said, too, they arguably have the best offensive line in the conference coming back with a lot of games under the belt. And that's a hell of a place to start for any football team. And that's what Tech's still trying to develop. So we'll see. We'll see.
And I think Tech is still probably 1 year away from having the offensive line that they want to have. But some of these recruits that are coming in, Tommy Wilder's coming in over the summer. True freshman, that'll be a boon. I don't know if he'll necessarily work into the rotation in year one, but he's definitely got the physical traits where if somebody was going to play early, he's going to be the guy. But I still think we're probably a year or two away from that offensive line looking exactly the way Franklin wants to look. Yeah,
they got to work. They got some work to do there. There's no doubt about it. No doubt. Are you guys rolling this week with the podcast? What you got going on?
We are rolling. It looks like tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night? It was tomorrow night another guest night, or are you guys just rolling with the regular thing?
Regular crew right now. We might have somebody jump on with us for a little bit to talk a little bit about this Hokie Ventures and also some of the things going on the basketball side. So, but it should be a fun night. We're excited. A lot of as far as off-season news, we're probably in the meat of this recruiting cycle right now. So that's fun. This Hokie Ventures thing is going to be, I think, a really good conversation when we kind of unpack it a little bit more. I think it's an exciting time to be a Virginia Tech fan, even with some of the uncertainty with who's going to be the next AD, who's going to be the next president, all that. I feel like Franklin's got something going here that is going to be kind of self-sustaining in a way, especially with if Hokie Ventures goes through on that BOV vote, that's going to be really big. And I think like we said, it's going to be a really really helpful element, not only for those profitable sports, but also for whoever the next AD is going to be coming in.
Yeah, and I think it's going to pass. I don't think there'll be any kind of pushing back. I think to prove that the university can function as the university like it's supposed to, its main goal is to function as an educational institution and also make money and separate and trust athletics is to do their thing. I think that's the way it's going to go everywhere.
And I think it's one of those things like when you look at Congress, they usually don't bring something to the floor they don't think is gonna pass muster, right?
Correct. And the fact that it's Brandon Hall presenting it, he did this at Clemson. Yep. He knows every element. He'll be able to answer every question and show all the benefits. I think it makes a whole lot of sense. It really does. So, well, you guys have a blast, man. Good stuff as always.
Appreciate it, brother. It's going to be a lot
of fun. Appreciate you. Yeah, man.
Always fun jumping on with you.
What time tomorrow night?
It's going to be 9 p.m. We're going to be live on X, on YouTube, on Facebook. Obviously, all the fun stuff will drop the next day, so it's going to be a lot of fun.
All right, man. Well, have fun tomorrow night. I know you will.
Appreciate you, Rick. Have a good
night. All right, brother. Appreciate you, man. Take care. Brian Siegel at Boundary Corner tomorrow night. Don't forget. Coming up at 9. Hit us up in the McClellan Chiropractic chat room and then on the Professional Door text line. Mike Burnup will join us. We'll talk more about this potential LLC, and we'll get his thoughts coming up here. Yeah. Yep. Good conversation. Brandon's a good dude. Brandon was at Radford, so I've known him a long time, and he's done a terrific job. Oh, is that so, Tebow? That's cool. Brandon is your cousin. That's cool. Well, he knows all about this because he created it at Clemson or helped create it at Clemson. So he will be able to answer all questions. So, but he does a terrific job. And I think it shows adjustment too. And I think the biggest credit you give Franklin is if they were probably talking about this route and he's able to explain why it's, in other words, he's going to keep pushing for this and push and not let people over there just kind of, if he sees something that's going to benefit, what you hope benefits the whole athletic program, then he's going to make sure that, things are progressing in that regard. Right. So we'll see. But good stuff there from Brian Siegler as always. Thank you. Appreciate that. People on our professional door text line. Tuned in yesterday. Great replay, but missed the live show. I know. I didn't make the decision really until Sunday to go ahead and just re-air a show. I have to do it coming up when I'm gone for my week. Anyways, so now that I know I can reschedule shows, we'll take care of that week that way. And I'll let you know way ahead of time on all the social media. Barbecue season. Maybe that'll be our attorney Ryan Pry BDST fan question of the week. Favorite way to have meat cooked? Rare, medium rare, yes. Medium well. Let's go there. Let's do that. Which way do you like your steak and or hamburger? That'll be our BDST fan question of the week since we are entering the warmest months and barbecue season. Favorite way to have meat cooked? Rare, medium well. Yeah, let's do that. That's good. See, Wayne always comes through. What's up, Pete? Pete says, I'm surprised to hear you say you're not concerned about the 2014 playoff. What's the point of having a regular season if you're going to let so many teams in? Well, I guess, Pete, for me, and by the way, thanks for the text message on our professional door text line. I don't have the same regard for the football playoff than I do for the NCAA basketball tournament, which is why that one still bothers me. And I know they're not going to stop at 76. It's going to go more and more. But I used to argue against, I hated the BCS back in the first run of the show. I hated the 4-team thing. Then it was just you picking, 2 teams to play. And then we went to 4 teams, and then you had the debacle there with Florida State. College football's never gotten it right, and it's never made any sense to me while they left so many dollars on the table all those years when they could have just adapted at that time the FCS playoff format, and everybody would have been fine. We kept getting all these horrible excuses. We kept getting all these things that didn't make any sense to counter why the playoff wasn't expanded. And really, you look back on it now, it was all lies because the fat cats wanted to keep the money to themselves. They didn't want to share any extra. They didn't have to share it with the players at that time, at least legally. So I think I became very jaded against the football postseason. So naturally, when it went to 12, I was excited. And to be honest, I can't sit here and say I'm fired up if it goes to 24, which it looks like it's going to, despite the SEC really acting as if it's going to be a stick in the mud. I guess we had so many years where I thought so many teams, like a Virginia Tech, when they lost, and who was it that got in? Was it Nebraska, Notre Dame? To follow up their championship run. I guess from a football perspective, to me, it doesn't lessen the regular season. I didn't ever see the expansion of the NFL playoffs, to me, make me think NFL regular season games didn't mean as much. And I don't think it's going to make me feel like college football's regular season games aren't going to mean as much. And I'm not going to sit here and say it doesn't water down the playoff field. Certainly it does. We're going to have 4 lost teams if it does go to 24. I understand that. And I know there's going to be many people not excited. I get it. But as we also, Pete, talked with Marv a minute ago, we're all going to watch, if you're a football fan, it is the passion of this country. College football is the second most popular watched sport in this country after the NFL. It doesn't bother me. I would rather see meaningful postseason games. That's right, Wayne. And I was going to bring that up. I'd rather see games that meant something. The bowls are history. I don't care about the bowls. All these players who opted out weren't playing in the bowls anyway. And I would rather have, if you're going to keep bowls, use them during the playoffs. I don't care. But I'd rather have meaningful games than I would taking 3 weeks off and playing in some bowl game. Oh, by the way, we've lost over half of our starting lineup. Right? Right? So to me, it doesn't matter. Yeah. What's up, Coach? Coach Elmo says about Virginia. Last year was the first year they could flip a roster with the portal, and they lost good players to the portal to Iowa, the Fields kid to Notre Dame. Prior to last year, Virginia had restrictions academically. Yes, they did. That got lifted, and they did not have the money to compete. Yeah, that's right. So Virginia's environment, much like Virginia Tech's, has evolved. We just don't hear as much about it. But it's a good point, Coach. Missed having you on. Missed you yesterday, Coach, since we didn't do a show. We'll have to get Coach Emma on sooner than later. Mike Burnett comes up here in about 15 minutes. So, yeah, this whole 2014 thing, I've just looked at it and went, okay, it was going to go anyway. Whatever. And let's say, look at it this way. Let's say Virginia Tech goes, I don't know. What do you think? 8-4, 9-3. Let's say they go 9-3. And they're right on the cusp of making what would be, and that's not going to happen this year. It's just going to be 12 teams this year. But let's say they have a 9-3 year. And whatever formula they're using, they squeeze into the playoff as the 22 or 23 seed. Is anybody going to not support them, especially if they were to get a home game or not travel if they got a regional matchup that made sense? Is anybody going to look at that as not being important? You're not going to worry about it. You're part of the playoff. And the other side of the argument to me, Pete, is this. When it was just 4 teams, Florida State won all 13 of their games a few years ago. But they lost their quarterback. So guess what? They were not allowed to play in the 4-team playoff. And they were told because, well, you lost your quarterback. And we want these games to be highly viewed and competitive. And we feel like you're going to have to be punished, which means that all 13 games they won, Pete, did not matter. Didn't matter they were 13-0. Didn't matter they won the ACC title game without their quarterback. They were left out of the ultimate prize. Imagine that. What is worse? Allegedly watering down the postseason and the hideous bowl season that we have now, with 24 teams or having a 13-0 team that was ranked within the top 2 all year be told that they are left out of the playoff because you had an injury? What is more of an injustice to the regular season? At least in this manner, you won't have anybody being able to say, hey, I didn't make the 2014 playoff. I got screwed. We were at least the 24th. We finished on 25th. And nobody's going to listen to those arguments anymore. Nobody's going to care. So from that aspect, few people are going to be able to say they were left out of a 24-team field. Do I think it should be? Now, for me, is it the ideal number? No. I would like 16. I think that makes a lot of sense. Have a sweet 16. I used to say that back in the BCS era on the show, and I haven't changed. I think they've missed their entire window to have really created something, and this probably never would have come up ever again. But the Sweet 16 in the NCAA basketball tournament is such a special event. They could have created a college football Sweet 16 that would have just trumped it all. They'd have made everything else secondary, but they didn't do it. They kept it at the BCS level and would never take the next step. And now, obviously, they're jumping the shark, right? They're going potentially from 12, like 3 of the Big Four conferences want, 12 to 24. That's a big jump. Doubling the field is a big, big jump. I get it. And that's unprecedented. Because you usually ease into these incremental additions to postseason, right? The NFL slowly built to where now there's 7. And I think it'll stay at 7. And the way they structured it, baseball kind of did the same thing. It's not traditional, right? Adding more baseball teams to the postseason, I think, has made their regular season more interesting. Those wild card battles late in September, because before you had to win the division. There was one team in each division, the East and the West. You could win 100 games and finish a game out of first, and you were done. So the expansion of the baseball playoffs, I think, has made their regular season more compelling. I'm not saying that's going to happen with college football because people have their own, we've seen it this way for a long time. And I understand you might feel that way 100%, but I don't fret about it. I don't care. Having more teams, at least you know that everybody who should be there is going to be there. And now you just go play, roll out the ball every weekend and go play. To have home sites part of it. Can you imagine Virginia Tech hosting a playoff game and what that would do and create? I brought this up last week. Wow. Coming up this Saturday afternoon at 3:30, it's Virginia Tech and Tennessee in the second round of the – whoa. Instead of saying, hey, Virginia Tech gets to go to the Belk Bowl against Mississippi State. Come on, Hokie fans. You know you want to make the caravan down to Charlotte to go see the Hokies play the Bulldogs. The day of bowls being a thing are over. The days of thinking that that's an accomplishment is over. Now, if that's all that's left in year one of a new regime, like James Franklin and Blacksburg, and you go 8-4, and you make a bowl, you're going to push that narrative. And I understand a lot of schools would do that, but that's after the 2014 playoff. There'll have to be some concessions and some hard conversations of what's going to happen with the bowls. But they are going to utilize the format that's going to create the most dollars. And there's no point in arguing that the expanded playoffs will create many, many more dollars, because it's all about paying the players now. Tech's creating an LLC. Imagine postseason money, how much that would help and go directly into the LLC. It just makes too much sense from a financial standpoint. In the TV contracts that can be negotiated and shared. I mean, I don't care at all that ESPN and the SEC are balking. I could not care less. They just don't want to have to share games on ESPN. That's why all their employees are such shills. Every one of them's gone out and said they don't like it. You notice that, by the way? Every ESPN employee, from McAfee to the game day people to the whomever it might be, they're all saying how much against it. You know why? Because that's the company thought. They don't want to lose games. Wayne says, I love bowls before the opt-outs. Yeah, man, it was a thing. Now you're watching bench players. It's like a spring game, 100%. I mean, I go to the last bowl game Tech won against Tulane. They were without, I want to say, 14 or 15 starters, Tulane. The quarterback had applied for the draft. He sat out. I think 4 of their starting offensive linemen were out. I mean, Tech won the game easily, but yeah, they were going to. Tech had some opt-outs, but not to that degree. It's just, these are games that they aren't signed up to play. Maybe the only way to salvage any of that is if you put it in their contracts going forward for the pay for play. I don't know. But we'll see what the SEC, and by the way, don't forget, you'll have hour-by-hour coverage from Pete Thamel and ESPN. They'll have breaking news during live sporting events to see what – oh, wait a minute. Greg Sankey has gone to the bathroom. Pete, what you have for us? Pete? Not you, Pete, who sent the message. Not you. Greg Sankey had a slice of orange this morning and a fruit cup. He made his way over toward the bacon tray, but decided to opt against it. We will have further details of what he might be looking at for his lunch a little later on. Guys, back to you. I'm Pete Thamel. Actual footage from a future ESPN SEC meetings coverage breakaway. Yeah. Tech trying to play against Maryland in a Pinstripe Bowl with about 33% of its roster. Man. No chance. JC had no chance to get that team in that game to win. That game was over, much like the Tech Tulane game. They were just over before they even kicked off. And I don't want more of that. I don't think that does any justice to the regular season either. But you're sitting there on selection day and you're watching like they do at the NCAA tournament, and you imagine showing the Tech over at the Merriman Center and they get chosen. Just saying. I think fans are going to get a lot more excited about it. And we're not ever going to go, since we're a football crazy nation, we're never going to be too upset over more games to watch. That's why I'm saying you would even watch Pitt and Wisconsin in an early round matchup of a 2014 playoff just because it's on. It's football. It's America's pastime now. So the SEC will figure it out, and somebody's going to make a point about potential revenue, and that's what these other ADs, the AD at Maryland and some other places, Maryland, geez Louise, Wayne, I read your message again. The AD at Alabama, and I think Georgia was the other, maybe Mississippi, all of them saying that they're for the 2014 playoffs. In other words, you have dissension already in the ranks, which Sankey did admit yesterday. It did surprise me that he reminded people we don't even have agreement amongst our member institutions, and we need to get there first. It might be difficult. So I don't know what that means. I don't know what the votes are going to look like. I'm guessing they'll go by majority. I don't know. But I think the SEC and Sankey know it's inevitable that it's going to go to 24 teams. They just want to make it look like they were the final say, right? Their meetings are last, and their meetings are going to have coverage like none of the other 3 power leagues. And we didn't hear very much out of the ACC meetings, some from the people we have here on the program. I didn't hear anything out of the Big 12. Kind of forgot they even had meetings. In the Big 10, all they did was come out immediately and say, yep, we're unified. Let's go 24. Tony Petitti, we're ready. It just makes too much sense. So there's no way that a guy like Tony Petitti, who comes to the college game with so much business success in sports and other ventures, can see how easily this should be adapted. And then all of a sudden the SEC, how married are they going to stay to that deal at ESPN? I don't know the answer to the question, but I think it's a question that will have to come up amongst the member institutions in that league. I'll try to reach out to Big Ten guy and see if he can tell me the pulse of what they might be thinking there in the SEC meetings coming up. Yeah. Mike Burnup scheduled to join us. I just sent him the invitation. I hope that went through. Kind of a little funky there. But hit us up. Please subscribe, like, and share the channel. Thanks to all the new folks who chimed in early. So we have a few new subscribers. I hope you stay subscribed. And it's good to be back here today. I'll let you know more about Thursday. Don't forget that I am scheduled to be over at Warm Hearth Village. James Franklin's going to be there. I think I'm just up there to do a question and answer session. A lot of the business owners are there. So come out and say hey. And I'm sure we'll talk about these things that are being proposed with the LLC and so forth. But that is coming up Thursday. So thanks to Steve for asking and the whole Montgomery County Chamber. And I want to take the time to introduce a lot of people they don't know to the program here on YouTube. Yep. As we head out of May and into June. It's good stuff all the way around. But we'll get your thoughts in the comments about all these things. Let me know what's on your mind. We're going to go with that, Wayne. Best way to cook meat. We'll keep you posted on all that. So you send those, by the way, on the text line, the professional door text line, 391-0788. A lot of people DM all these things. So whatever you want to do, it's fine with me. It's fine. Sankey's exact quote was, the positions on playoff size seem to change a lot. And he's talking about amongst his own schools. Is Sankey feeling like he's losing his power? I don't know. But it does feel like that they're trying maybe to position themselves as being the final say on this. And we'll see. because their number one partner, ESPN, is adamantly against it for all their own selfish intentions. So, but it's going to be interesting to see. Joining us now on the program is that gentleman. If I can get him up here, it's Mike Burnham. Good morning, Mike. How are you, brother?
I'm good, Rick. How about you?
Doing all right, man. Did you guys have another event? Are you traveling soon? When's your next event with Coach Franklin?
Tomorrow night in Richmond. We're going up to the Richmond Motor Speedway, having a group up there, and I'm not sure how many people. Somebody said that the room has a capacity of, I think, 700. And every other event we've been to thus far, Tidewater, Northern Virginia, has been sold out. So we'll see what kind of crowd we get tomorrow night. Looking forward to it. Should be a lot of fun. There's a lot of great Hokies in Richmond.
Yeah, I'm sure it's going to sell out, right? You got the tour going now, so people are going to be very, very excited, very, very excited.
Yeah, recruiting. How about that? I got another big recruit yesterday, and the momentum is great. Though these camps will be coming up in June here in another week or two, and yeah, he's got this thing rolling pretty good now. We'll see what happens in the fall when it translates into wins and losses. But the momentum is certainly rolling in the right direction.
Well, and that momentum's carried over this announcement. I think it was last Friday, Mike. The LLC creation looks like it's going to be a thing, and I think it makes so much sense. In the fact, Brandon Hall, who I know did this at Clemson, he knows exactly what this is going to mean. And speaking of progression, this seems like a natural evolution, doesn't it, for how athletics is going to have to do business going forward?
I think so, Rick. And it's so funny that some things circle back in life, right? Like when I was in school here, way back in the 69 and the 73, the Virginia Tech was the Virginia Tech Athletic Association. And it was like totally separate. I mean, it was like a business. And Don Perry was one of the guys there, Moose Matthews. I mean, it was a totally different entity. And so it was kind of like now, it seemed like it's coming back to that now. But you got to have different revenue streams, different eyeballs, somebody that works on this thing full time. And I think it's a good move. Other teams have done it, and I think it's going to be successful. You still got to win games and do all that sort of stuff to keep it going. But
right.
I think that's certainly going in the right direction. And I think the board understands that. And probably if that's presented and it looks really, really good, I think it'll pass quick.
I do too. I don't think it's going to be any question it's going to go through. And if I'm an AD who's looking at this Tech job that's open, I'll be excited about knowing that, hey, the fundraising part's off of my palette now. I don't have to worry about that anymore, and just I can concentrate on my department. I know a lot of ADs I talk to, that whole fundraising thing kind of became job number one for them, and it kind of took away from why they got into the whole thing to begin with. So that would excite me if I'm an athletic director candidate, to be honest.
Again, I've been around so long, Rick. You go back and remember these stories. So when Frank Beamer got hired, do you know who the second coach in line was, or the one maybe that might even have been the first choice? It was Bruce Arians.
Was it really? It was Coach
Yes.
Arians? Okay.
And so Dutch Bachman is hiring these guys, right? He's the AD, right? So Bruce was all set and thought he had the job and all that sort of stuff. And he came in the next day and was going to make the decision, apparently. And Dutch told him, and this committee or whatever said, hey, you're one of your number one things is going to be to raise money. And he said, wait a minute, you told me I was going to be the football coach and all this kind of stuff. And so that was one of the things that Bruce said, no, I'm going to be the football coach. That's your guys' issue, is to raise money, go out there and do all that. And so that was one of the things that I guess Bruce pulled his name out of the hat for it, and Frank Beamer ended up getting the job. So how about that? Yeah. And so, Brent Pry was faced with that. Fu was, Justin Fuente. I mean, these guys had to go out there and spend so much time dealing with donors, and now it's ridiculous trying to deal with donors and the NIL and trying to earn money and raise money and all that sort of stuff. It's out of whack for sure. So this, I think, will be a big help.
I agree, and it lets a guy like James Franklin, you'd be more of, okay, this is what I can do now within my own team, and let that other department, which I know the coaches will work closely with that, the LSC, but I just think it's natural progression. All the other schools that they've mentioned have already committed to this, have had success, So it's the only way I think it's going to work for all these schools. And eventually, I think it's going to be a model. I might be wrong, but if not all, a high majority are going to go to something similar than what Tech's going to do here.
Yeah, probably so, until they get some guardrails up and some rules about where this thing going to stop, get a salary cap or something. I mean, it's got to end somewhere. But yeah, I think it's certainly a move in the right direction, and James Franklin can do his thing. That's what he's here for. And another thing, he's on the committee for the search for the AD, and I'm sure that he'll have a big say in that hire. And obviously, they got to be able to work together hand in hand. And so, I think you'll certainly see that be a positive relationship between those two.
Mike Burnett joining us on the program. Thanks to Louise Baker, the Louise Baker team, Long and Foster. Well, about that, I won't say problems, but do you think there's going to be any ambiguity there? Because the AD looks like he's going to be hired first. He or she is going to be hired first, right? And then the president, because apparently that's being put on a little bit of delay because the governor got involved, and here we are with all that. So you think that transition can go okay, by the way, new president, your AD just hired too. You didn't have any part of this. That's an important relationship, the president and the AD. And James Franklin's talked about that, but it might be this president that comes in has nothing to do with this athletic director hire. We'll see.
Well, it could be, because if it goes across to this LLC, it could be that that's a total different entity, and the president has to be able to learn to work with that. But I think whoever they hire as president will understand that this is how it works here. This is the way it's going to be, and you take it or leave it type thing. And they'll they got the nationwide search going on. The president always takes a long time to get, because there's so many candidates and such a great job that will take a while. But yeah, the AD will be in place. I mean, some people speculate it could be done, by the 1st of August or sooner. I know James Franklin mentioned to one of the groups we were at that, if it is a sitting AD, for example, at another school that they're talking to, if you're going to get them out and pluck them out of that situation, you want to let that place be able to try to get on the move, and because football season's right around the corner for everybody.
Yeah.
And so that's an important thing. So I think they want to get it done sooner than later. I think they will. And I'll see if he has any update tomorrow night when we're together in Richmond.
Yeah, when you're out, I was going to ask about that. When you've been at these, what are some of the things people want to hear Coach Franklin talk? What have you gotten the most questions about going forward and so forth, when you're up there on stage with him? What are people concerned about?
He talks about we talk about spring practice, how it was, the whole transition of him coming in, trying to get a staff and keep the players on the roster that they wanted, and finish up the recruiting class that Brent Pry had. And they want to hear about that, and they want to hear about the transfer portal and how those guys came, and how he said, when he got the job, he said, I told these assistant coaches, I had a group of them in my room, and I said, look, at my house, I think it was. And he said, look, I'm going to take the Virginia Tech job. I want you guys to come with me. I don't have any idea what your title is going to be. I don't have any idea what you're going to make. He said, but I'm leaving tomorrow, and I want you to come. And if you're ready to go, come with me, and we'll get that stuff figured out later. And every one of them went with him, not knowing their title, not knowing how much money they were going to make or any of that kind of stuff. So I think the crowd liked to hear that. And then they like to hear about the roster breakdown. What do they have, where they may be lacking in a little space or two. And so they talk about that. They talk about the relationship between, I teed him up and I said, when you were hired, it's a lot different now because the president's stepping down. The AD's not going to be here except in an emeritus role. So we talk about that a little bit too, and they seem to like it. And, he takes pictures and has a nice picture line, and they take pictures with him. And it's kind of just a fun affair, loose, relaxed. He'll talk about ex-players some too, that he wants to keep them involved in the program and all that sort of stuff.
Well, and that's so vital, isn't it? And I know he has an appreciation for that to have former players feel like they have access to this program, the program they helped build. You can't ever forget about the building blocks of where Tech is. That's why a guy like James Franklin ends up at a place like Tech, because of what they did while they were here. So that's so vital, isn't it, for every program's long-term health to have that.
He has a great appreciation for what Coach Beamer did and all the success that they had. And I mean, he told people in the crowd, hey, this is a place that used to kick ass and take names. He says, we're going to get back to that. And he has a great appreciation for that. He called Coach Beamer when he got hired and asked him to give him his blessing, and all that sort of stuff. But he understands it. You know, Bruce Smith came to the one in Tidewater. He wasn't with the crowd, but he met with him privately. We got to see Bruce and all that. That was great. And then up in Northern Virginia, we saw Daryl Tapp. He was there with us. And the Tap Master, he was awesome. Assistant defensive line coach at the Commanders. Talk about Jalen Lane and all that. So, yeah, there's a great buzz around football right now and recruiting and all the good stuff that's going around.
Well, let me ask you about this 2014 playoff, Mike, because the three conferences are on board and they're very, very vocal about how on board they are, right? Especially the Big Ten and the ACC. The SEC say, whoa, hey, they're having their meetings and they want to make it, hey, Greg Sankey yesterday, some interesting conversations. You think eventually they're going to go ahead and just, I guess, can they be a stopping point in this? But if the if the SEC decides not to vote for 24 teams?
I don't know how that works because I know they have the call with the Big Ten. And so if you're sitting there and you got two people, 50-50, what happens? I don't know. I don't know how that goes. But I think the pressure would be on them to expand. I think that's what everybody wants. And since the Big Ten has won, the last three, I think the SEC might think, you know what, maybe this isn't so bad that we get some more teams in here and maybe we get a chance to get back on top or something. So I'm not sure how that thing. I know they're meeting down in Sandestin, down in Destin, Florida, which they do, and that'll be in the next few days. That'll be some hot topics coming out of that for sure. But hopefully it'll get passed. I think it'll be great for the ACC, and you won't have that situation like Florida State a couple of years ago, undefeated. Notre Dame last year. If UVA wins that championship game, Duke doesn't get in, but Miami probably does, right? So the whole thing needs to be tweaked.
Yeah, no doubt. And that's kind of what you just said, what the Alabama AD said. Well, more teams, a bigger field means more teams for our league, which means more money, right? I mean, and there's dissension there and Sankey admitted that certain schools are on board for 24 already, whereas he's kind of said along with ESPN, we want to keep it at 12. Well, of course, ESPN's going to say that. What else are they going to say? Right?
Yeah. The other thing too, Rick, and I read somewhere about it that that SEC championship game, you know how much that thing makes?
No, what did it make?
$100 million
for one
championship game makes. And so one of their gripes is that those first round games don't make near the amount of money or the viewership that championship game makes. So how do you do that? Are you going to eliminate that $100 million and try to make it up somewhere in one more round of games or whatever? And so I think that's one of the sticking points for the SEC is that championship game, man, in prime time in the afternoon, that's awesome. And they make a ton of money on that, and they don't want to lose that opportunity. But I don't know how you keep that game in place when you got a playoff looming, the next week or two after that.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, maybe that's what the compromise is going to be. But how do you do that? But is it just? I don't know what the other ones make. I don't know what. I know the ACC and even the Big Ten doesn't approach that kind of money. I can't imagine, right? $100 million.
No,
that's insane. So, how do you keep one game in one league and not the others? You'd have to have agreement across the board, I would think, wouldn't you? To eliminate all the.
I would think so too. Yeah, because that playoff is going to extend the season. It's going to almost be like. You're in the NFL now, right? You're going to play a 17-game season or whatever, or 16, 17. And, it gets on up there and you got to tweak the schedule in terms of week 0. And you don't want to be playing as like we talked about that championship game so late in January, but almost ties in 2 weeks before the Super Bowl or something. It's ridiculous. So, yeah, there's a lot of things that have to happen, but that's a chunk of money, man, that you got to try to make up somehow, some way. And if you're playing, the way the buys work or however that 2014 playoff would work, I'm not sure. But those early games, if you're playing some dog team, you're not going to get near the viewership that a championship game would.
Yeah, that's a great point. Even though it's a playoff,
right.
Yeah, it would be very interesting. And so we'll see. I know one thing. We'll have round-the-clock coverage from ESPN because it's the SEC. We'll know every hour what's happening there, what they're having for lunch, and where they're going after lunch. I'm sure that's going to happen.
Breaking news.
Breaking news. Here we go.
live from Destin, Florida.
Yeah. Well, they'll figure all the finances out, I think, because like the other leagues have already said, and I'm sure the Big Ten probably made the second most money of those championship games, and they were on board pretty early, weren't they? They came to an absolute 100% agreement about the 2014 playoff right off the bat, but the SEC is not, so it's interesting.
Yeah, and so many of these coaches, Rick, go the same way. You know, it's almost like now the pressure's on. It's playoff or bust, right? It's not, you know, hey, you have a winning season, win a conference championship, you know, let's get to the playoff. And now if you got, you know, double the opportunity to get to the playoff, it's probably a good thing, but it just requires a lot more tweaking of some of the schedules, bowl games, championship games, when you start the calendar and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, it's a whole work in progress for sure.
So is this the last visit? You have one more after this, don't you?
We still got Roanoke at Hotel Roanoke. That'll be sold out, I'm sure, in the ballroom there. Probably 500 or 600 people for that. But that's not until July 13th, I think. So This is the last one, and they'll work on their camps and recruiting weekends and all that sort of stuff, and maybe get a little downtime as well in July. But the last one will be July 13th before the ACC football kickoff days down in Charlotte.
And guys will be trickling in, right? Getting ready for the weight program over the summer and things like that, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure when class starts. It may start again today. The first summer session probably does. So, yeah, they'll start have a little buzz around there again and get that stuff going on. And how about that too? The other day too, I saw somewhere on X or Twitter that James Franklin, his Twitter followers tower above everyone else in the ACC as far as coaches go. It was staggering how many people follow him compared to the next closest one. So that was kind of cool. That guy's he's got it going now.
Is that Dabo? I guess it had to be.
Dabo had they didn't have a record on Dabo. They didn't. His name was down there, but it had X beside it because they didn't have any data on that. So yeah, wasn't that funny?
Yeah, that is. I don't know who else would even be in that same crystal ball. Maybe I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, Mario was up there. Narduzzi was up there. He was up there in the top 10.
Really?
Kind of interesting. Yeah, Mike Norvell, Florida State. Yeah. So it was interesting though. But Coach Franklin kind of blew him away.
Well, Norvell's on there because the Florida State fans want him out, so they want to heckle him.
That's an every year thing. It seems like.
Yeah.
But they have no money down there. They got to get some money to get rid of him because of the buyout and all. So, yeah, the pressure's on him this year to win for sure.
Yeah, they got pretty quiet, didn't they, about leaving the ACC? Didn't they? They got pretty quiet about all that pretty quickly.
Yeah, them and Clemson both. I mean, good Lord, all that moaning and groaning they did. How about going out there and win, boys?
Yeah, they haven't recovered from being left out of the playoff a few years ago.
Yeah.
They never recovered.
And that's the great thing, Rick. That the door's open, man. I'm telling you, the door's open for the ACC. It's wide open. I mean, Miami's got a nice thing going down there because they got so much money and they can buy so many players, and SMU's in that boat too in Louisville. These teams got a lot of money, but that door's open for somebody to slip right in there, and I think the Hokies will be contending sooner than later.
See, I say the same thing, and I'll have people say, "Oh, you're just being a homer," but why not? I mean, I look at last year. I look at UVA and Duke. I'm watching them play the ACC title game. I'm going, how are either one of these schools here, right? Why couldn't this be a year one thing? Why couldn't James Franklin come in and have guys perform at a certain level, and then boom, there they are also playing in that title game? It wouldn't surprise me at all. Why would it surprise anybody given this league right now, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you got good quarterbacks and you got more than one. I think it's certainly exciting. And, if you can get this thing pieced together and get off to a good start in that non-conference schedule and get some wins under your belt, get some confidence, it's hard to tell what could happen. But that away schedule is tough. There's no doubt about it with those away games across the country and everywhere else. That will be difficult, but certainly the door is open.
Well, Mike, I hope you had a good Memorial Day. Did you grill out yesterday over the weekend anytime? I know it was raining.
Yeah, too much rain. I did cook some nice salmon, but I ended up thought, well, it looks like it's going to pour down rain. So I ended up cooking it inside. But yeah, it was good. Just one day, what was a Sunday, it didn't really rain much. So got a lot done outside. But the other 2 days, They were kind of washes, man.
Yeah, I know.
I feel bad for these people that went on traveled and gosh,
Yeah.
it's raining everywhere. It seems like so tough traveling and tough when you're at the beach or somewhere like that and it's raining. That's not good.
Our fan question of the week before we let you go, Mike, is if you're going to have a nice steak, if you're going to a steakhouse and you're committed, how do you like your steak cooked? That's what we're asking.
Medium rare.
There you go.
Medium rare.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Me as well.
Yeah.
All right, Mike, thanks so much as always. And always thanks to Louise Baker. I'm surprised she's not like traveling with you down there when you're making all these stops, knowing the way she feels about everything. But
I know she's great. What a great supporter for years and years and years. And look forward to seeing her real soon.
yeah, no doubt. Well, listen, safe travels. You guys have fun in Richmond. We're supposed to do a thing over at over in Christiansburg, or I guess that's where that is. What is it? I've already forgotten the name of it. Coach Franklin's supposed to be over here at, let's see.
Yeah. It's a Warm Hearth.
Warm Hearth. Yeah. Where's that?
Yeah.
Where is Warm Hearth?
Warm Hearth's over there near the hospital.
Okay.
Kind of back down that road. Yeah. You go back my Montgomery, Lewis Gale, Montgomery, and go back in that area. Yeah. When is that?
Yeah. It's supposed to be Thursday morning. So
Thursday morning. Yeah. I saw you were doing that. That'll be fun.
Yeah. That'll be fun. So, Tell him what a cool guy I am before he meets me.
No tough questions.
No tough questions.
No,
all right,
he's
brother.
Great. He gives great answers and long answers, so you won't have to ask him too much.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
he'll just go. Exactly.
He's great. Yeah, they'll love it.
All right, man. Stay safe. Good stuff as always, Mike.
All right, Rick. You too. Have a good rest of your week.
Hey, brother. You too. There you go.
Okay.
Mike Burnham. Good stuff from Mike. They'll be in Richmond tomorrow. Then they have one in Roanoke, like you said, Hotel Roanoke. That'd be great. That'd be sold out. So Thunder, let me clarify here. We're talking about steak and hamburger. We're not going into like brisket and all that. This is grilling food here. Steak and hamburger. And Mike just answered the only proper way. And that's medium rare, but that's okay. People are going to have different. I've already gotten quite a few people were saying well done. My mom liked them well done, and I'm like, it's just you're killing about 90% of the flavor there. What are we doing? What are we doing? Anyone that overcooks a steak is a communist, Morris says. To Wayne's point, he says adding 2 more rounds, 2 to 6 more teams from the SEC makes that up. That's what I would think. And I think that's the argument that the Alabama folks will 100% make to try to convince Sankey and everybody who's holding out. Why not? Because I think that's exactly right, that more opportunities to play in the playoffs is going to create more dollars than just one football game. I mean, I just looked up the Big Ten. It was estimated that it made anywhere from 60 to 75 million last year's Big Ten title game. They had no problem giving up. They've done the math like you're doing, Wayne. Now, Frankie's saying hamburger needs to be well done. Wow, really? Steaks medium. Agree to disagree. Remember when Ron Burgundy was trying to tell Veronica Corningstone about San Diego and the origin of the name, and she knew exactly what it was? And then he had no clue. Well, agree to disagree. By the way, Steven, if you're still here, congrats. I know he was updating me on the Georgia Tech ACC tournament. They won that bad boy, right? Georgia Tech. The Ramblin' Wreck of Georgia Tech got it done. By the way, Steven, if you're still here, why are you the Yellow Jackets and the Ramblin' Wreck? Like, I don't understand why Auburn's the Tigers and War Eagle. Why does Alabama, why are they the Crimson Tide? Why do they have an elephant? These are things that They don't keep me up at night, but sometimes I do wonder throughout my days. Is the Ramblin' Wreck like something an old coach said about your team? I mean, I could look it up. I'm just trying to, I know I could Google it. Well, you're welcome, Morris. I know you're a veteran, and all our veterans. Thank you for everything. Absolutely. And thanks to you. Thanks to you. Oh, he's going to send the story. There we go. Asking that while the hook. Yeah. Look, I think, and I know I'm in the minority, but I think fighting gobblers is pretty badass. I love. Yeah, but Radford's never was known as the Rowdy Reds. See, Rowdy Red was the mascot that was created. The Highlanders always been the Radford mascot. Thunder says, what would you expect from a Miami Hurricane fan? They'd burn their steaks. We're having smack talking here amongst the fanship. By the way, did you know Rowdy Red was created a couple of years before Elmo? We think Sesame Street, somebody saw Rowdy Red and copied it. We really believe that. Isn't Fighting Gobblers great? I think it is. Is Fighting Gobblers still on the stadium? I think it's awesome. And that's what I grew up with. Home of the Fighting Gobblers. I'm with you, man. Hokies is a cheer, right? It's just a cheer that ended up evolving into what they use as the mascot name. But really, that's why the Hokie bird's a turkey. He's a turkey. He's not a Hokie bird. So Steven's going to send me I could look it up. Steven, I know that's a lot of trouble. I mean, I could look it up and tell you right now. Let's see. That'll be our final topic for the day. Why is Georgia Tech also the Ramblin' Wreck? Georgia Tech is called the Ramblin' Wreck due to its engineering heritage. There we go. Which birthed both the famous fight song and the beloved mechanical mascot. The moniker originates from a 19th century alumni who built makeshift motorized vehicles from spare parts to navigate remote work sites in Central and South America. And there is a song. Ramblin' Wreck from Georgia Tech, a song created in the 1920s, adapted from an old English folk ballad called The Sons of a Gamboiler. There you go. Okay, good stuff. Sing the song, Rick. I don't know it. I don't really know how it goes, but there you go. So it did have an engineering tie-in. You could do it like the old Bill Murray lounge singer character, Wayne. Hey, Ramblin' Wreck, Ramblin' Wreck. The Yellow Jackets was first a joke by a student who showed up at a game and it stuck. Really? Interesting. See the things you learn here on the program. Hey, it was great being back with everybody. Thanks for all the contributions in chat and on our professional door text line. Thanks to our guest, Marva, Brian Siegla, and thanks for Mike Burnham, everybody. Thanks to our great sponsors. Could not do it without you. We need more of you. But I hope everybody's doing okay. And great to be back live with you. We'll be back tomorrow on the Hump Day Wednesday edition. Everybody kind of slide back into the work day. I hope it goes as seamless as possible. We'll see you tomorrow. Please subscribe, like, and share the channel. And we will talk to you on Wednesday. Be good, everybody.